It is. Welcome, everyone. We will start our Human Rights Commission meeting for the City of Palm Springs, Monday, December 20th, 2021. It's a special meeting underway at 5:31. Jay, we've got roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Loyola,
Present.
Commissioner Vignola,
Present.
Commissioner Andrade,
Oh, signing in.
She's joining you.
I saw that, yes. Commissioner Flood,
Present.
Commissioner Ramaran,
Present.
Vice Chair Shepherd,
Present.
Chair DeHart,
Present.
Student Representative Hanner. Lily had indicated she would be here. She accepted, but oh, there she is in the waiting room.
Nice. All right, excellent. Well, we've got a great group with us tonight. And Commissioner Ramaran, I just want to let you know ahead of time, your background, I'm going to see any hand you put up today because it will not blend in with your background. So that's all good. Okay, first we are up with item 5, public comments. Jay, has anybody indicated that they wanted to speak today?
No one has indicated or requested to make public comments to the group today, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. And we don't have anybody attending online, so we will move on to item 6. And I can make it even quicker and have no comments today, other than we, as we, celebrate any holiday that you do celebrate for the rest of the month. I wish everybody a great holiday season and plenty of rest and relaxation for you, and lots of love with family and friends. Item 7, the approval of minutes for November 8, 2021. Is there any discussion on the minutes that were included in the packet? I see a head shaking no. That's beautiful. Then we will accept a motion to approve the minutes as presented for November 8, 2021.
I move to approve
Mr.
the minutes.
Vignola first and Hugo,
Second.
Commissioner Loyola second. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented? Hands up, heads
Aye.
up and down. Aye, okay. It's unanimous, Jay. Thank you all. Now we've got on to item 8, items for discussion. Let me just scan ahead here. I was just checking to see where the ad hoc committee was reporting. And since we don't have any executive committee meetings, nothing has been posted. There is nothing to report there. And did we have any other meetings posted under community relations? Nothing formal. Any updates under community relations? We did have a report of hate crime that was reported in early November. Point out my notes on that. One moment. Oh, sorry, September 21. So September 21. And in the Albee parking lot, the woman was approached by a male, and it ended up harassing her. Not sure why they signaled her out, but calling hate crime for speech, and the male was not apprehended, so that report was just filed, by the victim. And then again, on the 29th, there was another incident of hate speech that occurred at the 400 Desert Lakes Drive. It appears that it was a confrontation between two neighbors, and then the victim, was certainly not attacked, but verbally attacked, and his foot was caught in the door in his car when he was getting in the car, and the alleged neighbor who was involved was shutting the door several times on his foot. So that did result in a hate crime filing. And then on November 6th, there was a stabbing at the 400 block of Indian, which was originally reported at the 400 block of Indian. It turns out it was ended up being more south on Palm Canyon, toward the Rite Aid area. And that individual was approached by a black male and who took the cell phone away from the victim, and then used negative speech based on the individual's assumed gender identity and sexual orientation. No one was apprehended. They haven't found anybody, and no leads on that one. So there were a few incidents to report for the last quarter. And I don't know if that's a good number, or thank goodness it's not more than that, but that's the report that we got out of the Palm Springs Police Department Outreach Committee from last Thursday. Anything else? Just general updates on master calendar, organized neighborhoods, Desert Highlands?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Veterans, Commissioner Flood?
Nothing there at this time.
Sweet. Youth Education Standing Committee, did we have a meeting there? I don't think we did.
Not since the initial meeting, but I just wanted to mention that the Palm Springs Unified School District Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Mike, I'll probably mispronounce it. Lily, maybe you know how to say his last name. Is it Swiz? S-W-I-Z-E?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know who this person is until right now. So I have no clue how to pronounce his name.
Well, I think he's relatively new, but he's started a coffee with the superintendent. He launched it earlier this month. I wasn't able to make that particular one, but he's going to be having them, I think, on a regular basis. In the mornings, he's calling it Mornings with Mike. And it'll be held between 7:30 and 9 a.m. on the patio at Coffee on Tockwitz Canyon Way, and everyone's invited. As soon as the next one's announced, I'll try to attend, and I'll let everyone through Jay know. And you're all welcome to attend, drop in, no reservations required. And that's it. I thought it would be a good opportunity to meet with the superintendent, or at least let him know we exist, and just kind of start a conversation with him at some point. And I'll reach out to the other members of the standing committee, and we can talk more about, things we might want to mention during our coffee with Mike. So that's all I have on that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Ramaran, I see a hand up for you.
Yeah, just quickly, in terms of, sorry, I didn't mean to, I didn't get skipped over, but I totally just put my hand up when you were calling the special groups. But I wanted to just give a quick item update in terms of the master calendar, and that's just the ongoing work around the redistricting in the city of Palm Springs. As I think all of us knew, during the month of December, we had the community engagement workshops. So those wrapped up this month, but just to look forward to this, the continuing phase one of redistricting in the city of Palm Springs. And I definitely encourage everyone to go to psdistricts.com. Again, that's psdistricts.com to look at the upcoming schedule for 2022. And the item that's coming up for January 27th is the next public hearing with the consultant and the drawing of the maps as they are headed towards developing the district boundary maps for the city of Palm Springs. So I definitely want to encourage that. The other thing I want to note is that I want to definitely applaud the city and for putting together not just Spanish for redistricting, but also Tagalog. So you can now tell folks, hey, if you speak the Filipino language of Tagalog, you could go to psdistricts.com and get information about how to get involved with districting in the city of Palm Springs. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that update. Anything on any updates from mediation? Commissioner Andrade, Vignola? Nothing new there? Okay. Now we're on item B, the ad hoc committee to review and approve the smoking ordinance, AKA Clean Indoor Air and Health Protection Draft Ordinance. It is a mouthful. So before we get into this item, I just want to share with folks, there is no date for this to go to City Council at this time. So I don't know if we necessarily have to even have any action on approving or disapproving. And of course, you all can weigh in on if your desire there. But my recommendation is we don't see some of the comments that have gone back and forth, over a number of years. But in particular, relating to the guideline of enforcing smoking in multi-housing units. And I think we had pointed out previously that when we're targeting these multi-housing units, we're going to be targeting the poorest folks in the community and those that are marginalized already. And that they're going to be targeted because they can't afford to, have a home and live independently. Their conditions they're in condos or apartments. So the policy it does not include, from what I see, a solution to that particular element. And also, what do you with seniors, HOAs who currently have no smoking in place? What is the rule of enforcement, and how can enforcement even occur in the city of Palm Springs? And then do you end up having selective enforcement in cases where somebody may be smoking in their apartment, which then leads you to a greater level of marginalized residents being evicted from their apartment because of selective enforcement of a smoking ordinance. So because it's an equity issue, and it's also a huge health issue, I think the recommendation that I would make to the commission is that we don't move on the ordinance itself. It's done. It's in its final form from sustainability. Let sustainability continue to move that forward, and the Human Rights Commission could send a letter to City Council, letting City Council know that we would like to see a carve out of some sort from this multiple unit housing restriction at this time. So at some point in time, we may get to the point where we can have an educational program in place place to help educate the communities and the folks living in the apartment complexes. But we don't have that now, and it's not going to come anytime soon. So we could at least let City Council know when they do take it up that that we've discussed this for quite some time, and that we would recommend carving out the language that speaks specifically to smoking in multi-unit housing situations. Commissioner Ramron, do you have any comment, or would you like to share your thoughts?
As the commissioner who was on, just managing the part of this with this, sustainability and just getting this moved forward, I appreciate what you said, Chair DeHart, and that vigilance for communities who would be disproportionately affected by an ordinance like this I think this is very important. And I know that we're not necessarily going to move as a commission because this is in its final stage with the sustainability. But I really appreciate that, because I think that these are the sort of learning moments as a commissioner for the city of Palm Springs that, is always very telling, because this is about reading between the lines, right? It's about being able to really be able to identify places where, this is at the drafting stage, where a commission will be involved with city council to help develop that kind of, or policy. When we look at policy and how it can disproportionately affect especially lower income residents or those that live in Palm Springs, I think that needs to definitely be put into a very much a caveat, that real caveat that you said, Chair. So I appreciate that very much. This is probably the most I've had in terms of that kind of conversation around the equity part of it with everyone here, as well as with sustainability. So we literally, I helped manage this to just sort of get it moved forward, but that was very much on the level of both text and editing and stuff. But as you can see, in the draft that is going to be forwarded, or the current final draft, those sort of sections where it helped define examples of how these kind of ordinances have already been sort of enacted throughout the country. This would be a very, very, very telling, important not just footnote, but very much a way for it wherein our commission could give that real voice for those who could be disproportionately affected. So I appreciate that. I know that Commissioner Vignola has his hand up as well.
Commissioner Vignola, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you. I just had two comments on the ordinance, and I appreciate both the chair's comments and Commissioner Ramaran's comments. And I agree with the chair that first of all, my sole real criticism of the ordinance was the section that prohibits smoking in residential units in multi-unit residences. But my objection was I felt that it was significant overreach by the city of Palm Springs to owners of a residential unit in a multi-unit residence being told that they cannot smoke in their unit, which they purchased, because it's a multi-unit residence building as defined by the ordinance. So that was my objection to I think that needs to be addressed. I don't know how you can prevent an owner, certainly one that's purchased their unit perhaps many years ago, from smoking in their unit because it's in a multi-unit residence. So I'm not sure how the city would handle that. And I think that they're opening themselves up to significant liability. My other question, I guess, just for my own education, was I wasn't sure why the Human Rights Commission was being asked to even look at this ordinance. Is that just a standard practice?
We started the ordinance in 2017, 2018,
Okay.
and then worked with sustainability and in parallel, language was created. But this is something that's been going on for a long time. And I am glad to see sustainability has come to, a final version to pass on. But I think to your observation, Commissioner Vignola, we don't want to disregard the focus of the impact to a person's health of smoking, and there is real health, significant health issues that come from the secondhand smoke, and if somebody doesn't want to be exposed to that secondhand smoke in a multi-unit complex, I think we certainly have compassion and we understand the health side, and I think that's where the education element comes into play. Is that we want to educate, or the city would need to undergo a program of education to make sure that residents in these multi-unit situations understand, or that they have information available to them on the impact of secondhand smoke. Today, I'm suggesting our focus is not on the health consequences, because I think collectively we would all support the fact that a healthier Palm Springs is what we're going after. I'm focusing, and I'm suggesting that we focus on the equity piece and the equity issue, from the lower income individuals who are more proportionately going to be living in these multi-unit housing complexes, and that's where there's it's not an equitable solution, hasn't been presented yet, and we would just be recommending to City Council that they look for that solution, or they carve out the multi-unit housing for now.
I agree. But equity works both ways, whether you're a low income person in a rental unit, or you're a high income person who's purchased a unit in a multi-unit residence and you happen to smoke. And I understand the health benefits, but to then tell that owner, you cannot no longer smoke because the smoke is passing to the unit to your right or left, I think is overreach. So I'm still uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't
Provision. So hopefully they carve it out and address it separately.
Sure. So it's proportionately the people who are suffering more, or would be impacted more proportionately, of renters in these apartment complexes are not rich white individuals. It's going to be lower income seniors and minorities that are going to be impacted greatly. So that's where the equity piece comes in, you not discounting your position either, but there more work needs to be on this piece, this housing piece. So and I would say, so this isn't carried on for another 3 years, that we let sustainability move forward their product, and then based on comments from other commissioners, we decide how we would like to handle it. Any other thoughts that folks would like to share? Suggestions on how we move forward? Commissioner Andrade? No, you got to hit your mute button. There you go.
Am I good? Okay. Has there already been a decision on by say the federal government on public housing and things of that nature with regard to smoking in multi-unit rental housing? I feel like what we're talking about now is private sector and private sector ownership, but is there already some sort of again, an ordinance or a requirement that prevents people from smoking in a federally funded apartment or rental situation.
I don't have that answer. Jay, are you aware? And when you're talking about a federally funded project, Commissioner Andrade, versus a public, privately funded one, I heard both areas coming from your comment. Jay, are you aware of?
No, I am not. Usually it is HUD that would establish those housing rules. And there are, I believe what Commissioner Andrade is saying is some housing is owned by the public, by the government, and is operated by the government, and some housing is subsidized by the government, but privately owned. So in both cases, there's probably the same HUD rules, but unfortunately, I don't know what that rule is in regards to smoking in your unit. So I can take a quick look for that, and I'll give the committee an update.
I don't know how correct this is, but from what I'm looking at, it's more so up to state and city and what they believe is right for their city. On a federal level, not as much. And landlords, I think in certain places, but landlords in general have the right to restrict their tenants from smoking within their buildings, but that's because they own that building. So if you're a renter, it's up to the landlord. With private owned property, I'm not as sure, and that comes down to city or state law, but they have the right to pass those laws to restrict it. So yeah, I'm
Thank
not sure
you.
how correct that is.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on.
That's completely viable. If the federal government is silent on the issue, it would go to the state or local government to implement their own rules.
And we do have local rules with some development. Some HOAs do have that the policy of no smoking within the units and even on property, but it comes back to enforcement. But that's not the piece that we're focusing on today. And the other thing I just want to remind everybody is council, this isn't on council their radar to address soon. At least we don't know today when it would be looked at by city council. So I think it's going to be a little more time before we learn what the council agenda is going to be for 22. And I think at that point in time, I think that's where a letter from us could be helpful, just to share with council, the whether it's a few questions or a particular section of the ordinance that we're concerned with.
I do have one also additional sort of tidbit in regards to the drafting of the ordinance language. I know that Commissioner Baker in sustainability, he, a lot of the work that he was very much interested in was looking at the success of a smoking ordinance in the city of Santa Monica. So that may be one area, just if anyone here wants to look into more how the city of Santa Monica has enacted or moved on their clean air ordinances. I think that might be a really good way to look at it also, since we're following the lead of some of the other municipalities in the state of California.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts, Commissioner Andrade? Were you done with your share? You good? Okay. So how would we like to move forward on this? We don't have to act on the ordinance at all. we don't even need to agree to write a letter today because there's plenty of time. It's something that could come back. But I think we would do ourselves a favor if we created some sense of direction so we know that maybe Commissioner Ramaran and another couple people could contribute to drafting that letter just to express thoughts to City Council. Is a letter with our concern something that you are interested in? Is there consensus
Yes.
to do a letter? I see Commissioner Flood.
I'm not sure on this one yet. I have to give it some more thought.
Okay,
I'm not ready for a letter. The council has not made any moves thus far. I just don't know if we just be wasting time on right at this juncture. I just don't know.
yeah. Vice Chair Shepherd.
I agree with Commissioner Flood.
And with that is the thought that we would just bring this back to agenda at some time down the road when we learn that City Council will be looking at it.
Yes.
Is that what we, okay. How does everybody feel about that? Is that we won't, we're not going to be, putting anything on our future schedule that we're going to do a letter, but we will just bring it back to the agenda at the point in time when we know City Council is going to be looking at it. Then we can make a letter or send comments on to City Council when we know they're working on it. Yes, that's fair to everybody.
Agreed.
Okay, excellent. So thank you for that and the comments that went along with that. That's appreciated, and hopefully, when the ordinance is implemented, we will have a really good ordinance for the residents and visitors of Palm Springs. So item C, Community Service Award selection. So that's the primary item for our agenda today. And there was an ad hoc committee formed with Commissioner Loyola and Vice Chair and myself to review, and the slate has been sent to the full commission previously so you could review. Just as a reminder, we don't single out any one honoree or nominee during this public meeting, and we don't mention names or until commission approves the slate, and then we contact the nominee and they let us know that they'll accept the award. Then it can be a public. But for today, you've got a slate, which I'll just share. There's a common thread that goes through all 8 of the honorees this year, and I don't know, it wasn't by design, but it just ended up being that each of the honorees served our community in some form or another on a COVID platform, whether it was through the arts, or encouraging vaccinations within the community, or reaching out and feeding the unhoused, or promoting volunteerism in the community. There was that theme runs through all of the honorees this year, and I think that's a significant thing for the commission to be recognizing. Are there any comments that other commissioners would like to make? And any red flags on any item? You can use a number, not the name, if you do have a concern on one of the nominees. All right, if not, then we will entertain a motion to accept the slate out of the ad hoc committee for the Community Service Award nominees for 2022. Commissioner Loyola first and Vice Chair Shepherd second.
Motion to
All in
adopt.
favor? Or any other discussion? Sorry, I didn't have any discussion. So all in favor, nod your head, raise your hand. Yes, yes, yes. Okay,
Aye.
it's unanimous across the board, Jay. Thank you for that, and thank you to Commissioner Loyola and Vice Chair Shepherd for jumping in and accepting your appointment to the ad hoc committee and moving this forward. So I appreciate that. And Jay, thank you for you and Annie for helping to coordinate the whole process. Okay, next item is we're on Commissioner 8D, Commissioner Staff and Student Comments. Do we have any other additional comments that the commissioners would like to make? Commissioner Vignola, you always have something. No? All right. So Commissioner Ramaran, I see your hand up.
I just want to congratulate our new mayor, Lisa Middleton. As we all know, this has been a historic year for our city as well. So I want to definitely congratulate our new mayor, Lisa Middleton. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that. Any other comments?
Just a wish for happy holiday season, Merry Christmas, whatever we celebrate. Look forward to seeing everybody in the new year and hope that the new year is just that, a new year with some new prospects.
Here, here. Okay, if that's it.
Chair,
Oh, yes.
I don't know if everyone saw the Desert Sun article last week. I think it mentioned the was it Measure J community initiated project proposals
And
that went forward.
they pointed out one in particular.
I know the COVID, the memorial for COVID victims, which obviously came from this commission. So I thought that was great that, I wish they'd mentioned, well, I think they did mention the Human Rights Commission. So I don't know, Jay, if you know anything more about the timeline for, I know they have to go through all those projects and do their evaluation and assessment and scoring, but have you heard anything, or will they get back to you?
I do not know. It looked like a whole lot of different types of proposals, so I think they have their hands full. Commissioner, I will say one thing, procedure-wise. As you know, I work with the Public Arts Commission also, and I think, while they were very appreciative of the proposals that came through Human Rights Commission, I think they would have wanted us to reach out also with pursuing a public arts type of project. I'm not sure how that would have happened given the short time frame Measure J gave us, but something to think about as we move forward. And I could definitely play a key role in that. So that's and I'm happy to do so. But just to give you a heads up, that's just a little feedback when Public Arts Commission had discussed the same topic. So.
And I think the timing is we're going to hear more from Measure J in the April timeframe. Okay, Commissioner, Student Representative Hannah, I see your hand up.
Yeah, public arts thing. That sounds really fun. I am other than here, my other passions would be within the arts realm. So having more I feel like public arts or more interactive public art type things happening in the city would be really cool. But I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays and that you guys get enough rest, because I know I will, because we end our semester right before break, so we have finals and midterms all of last week before I started winter break, and that wasn't fun. So I just wish everyone a happy holidays and that we get enough rest in the next few weeks and celebrate whatever you celebrate, happy and healthy. Okay.
Well, Lily, when do you start back up?
January 10th, I think. I have 3 weeks off. That's all I
Okay.
know. I don't want to think about it. I don't I don't want to think about going back.
So do you at least feel good with your scores that you think you're going to get on your finals?
Actually, out of my classes, I have 6. Out of all of 6 of my classes, the only final grade that I don't have back is my English final. Otherwise, I think my lowest final grade was like a 77%. So I am so far very, very confident.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I've got my English final was an essay, and I've gotten quite good at writing essays. So I'm gonna hope that I did well on that. But otherwise, all of my other finals were very, very positive.
Excellent. Well, good for you.
Thank you.
That's great to hear. And enjoy your 3 weeks off. Well deserved.
I am going to. I don't want to go back. It's so tiring. It's not even laziness. I'm just tired.
Yeah, it's time to rest. Okay, we're on to item 11. The commission will adjourn to an adjourned regular meeting on Monday, January 10th in the new year of 2022. So thank you all for the year of service, and we'll do it all over again in 30 days or less than 30 days. Thank you all.